from climate change are happening now. These impacts extend well beyond an increase in temperature, affecting ecosystem and communities, especially to our country and around the world. Things that we depend upon value water, energy, transportation, wildlife, agriculture, ecosystem, and human health are experiencing the effects of changing climate. But how deeply does climate change affect our country? And how can we prevent it? Good day everyone! Welcome to STS TV. I'm your host for today, Gretchen Awiatan, and we are now live in the Mall of Asia Arena. Today, we have prepared something special for you. We will be having 5 special guests who are all graduated from Harvard School, and they are now the most famous climatologists in the world. Please help me welcome Mr. Reynard Singala, Mr. Gerald Ilongo, Mr. Roger Durante, Miss Valerie Apolinares, and last but not the least, Miss Maricos Nervasa. Welcome, ma'am, sir. But before we start, let us know first the overall structure of this event. First is to know the meaning of each symbol or pictures of the collage. The second one is to determine the different factors that affect the climate change in our country, which is based on the collage. And lastly, to cite ways on how to prevent climate change in our country. So without further ado, let's begin! So let's start with you, Mr. Tingala. Okay, sir, at this moment, I will show you a collage, and what you will gonna do is to tell your own perspective about the picture on what are the meaning of each symbol and pictures on the collage. Okay? So here's our collage, sir. Please look at the screen, and you may now begin.
Thank you, Gretchen, for that question. So based on my observation in the picture, all I can say is that climate change really affects our lives, especially to our country here in Philippines. In that picture, we see a globe that is melting, which represents that our country or our planet Earth is now highly exposed to climate change. And there are a lot of sectors that affected by this, especially to our country. And this affects our agriculture, water resources, energy, coastal ecosystems, and urban infrastructures, and as well as human health. Later, it will discuss all these sectors by my co-climatologists. Climate change has already begun to impact our planet in more ways than we can think. Temperatures continue to rise throughout the planet, and we are experiencing changes in precipitation patterns as we have never seen before. The main cause of these catastrophic effects on our planet is pollution. On the other hand, the hand in the picture represents care, that we humans are responsible to take care of our Mother Earth. Saving the environment starts with us, and it is our responsibility to act against these terrible changes to preserve the planet for future generations.
Thank you so much, Mr. Tungala. And now, let us know on how does climate change affect our country. May I call on Miss Maricruz Narbasa? Okay, ma'am, what can you say about it?
Thank you, Gretchen. One of the effective sectors of climate change is in the agriculture, which is in the dominant livelihood for the rural poor and contribute 12% to GDP. Production of total crops such as rice and corn and cash crop will be negatively impact of changing climate, especially increase the temperature, which evaporation rate and can reduce yield through heat and water stress. Another sectors is in the water resources, wherein climate variability is already dealing to the water stress by reducing the quality and quantity of available water supply, reduce water inflows to water shield, and create shortage of agricultural, industrial, and municipal users who account from 82, 10, and 8% of water withdrawal respectively.
Thank you, Miss Narvasa. And now, may I call on Miss R. Valerie Apolinares? Ma'am Apolinares, based on the collage, what are the other sectors in our country that affected by the climate change?
Thank you, Gretch. Another aspect is also affected on the climate change in our country, and one of it is energy sector, wherein climate change could impact the Philippines' energy supply, as well as increase demand. Hydropower production, which contributes 20% to the country's energy supply, is vulnerable to reduced water availability from climate change. And other sector is also in coastal ecosystems, wherein coupled with extensive environmental degradation and deforestation, climate change threatens the country's valuable coastal ecosystems and fisheries. Increased salinity and sea levels can damage mangroves, while ocean acidification and rising seas and sea surface temperature can destroy fish and marine habitats, particularly through coral bleaching and.
Thank you, Miss Apolinares. And now, may I call on Mr. Roger Durante? Same question, sir. What are the other sectors in our country that affected by the climate change?
In urban infrastructures, highly temperature, heavy rainfall, and strong wind are likely to impact the Philippines. Infrastructure and services in urban and peri-urban areas where over 60% of population residents, Tropical Storm Katrina cost 33 million in repair to roads and bridges in 2007. Extreme weather also poses threats to water and sanitation facilities. Rising sea levels threaten infrastructures and settlement in 25 cities located along coastal line. As well as the human health sector has also affected. The health risk from epidemic vectors and waterborne diseases such as diarrhea, malaria, and dengue are expected to worsen with a changing and more variable climate that include increased heavy rain and rising temperature, both in which positively impact mosquito breeding and survival.
We are now approaching to our last guest. Please help me welcome Mr. Gerald Pilongo. Okay, sir. As a climatologist, what are the ways that can you advise to us or for the viewers to prevent climate change in our country?
Based from the collage, these are the ways that we can do to prevent climate change. First, make your commute green. Millions of people drive to work every day. It is simply unavoidable in our modern day society. However, the downside to this is that millions of cars emit greenhouse gases that destroy our atmosphere. Second, be conservative with energy usage. Becoming more energy efficient is a great way to prevent pollution. It causes the power plants to expend less energy that can lead to the production of greenhouse gases. Third, get active and vote. One of the best ways to improve climate change is to help those who will fight against it get into office.
Thank you, Mr. Pilongo. Once again, let us give a round of applause for our 5 guest speaker for today. Thank you, Ma'am and Sir, for accepting my invitation. To conclude, as the global climate is highly interconnected system that is influenced by many different factors. The consequences usually result in positive or negative feedback effects. This refers to developments that are self-enhancing due to the occurrence of certain conditions. Before I end this show, let me tell you this. Let us all be responsible enough to protect our climate change. Because as what our guest speaker emphasized that, climate change is the greatest threat to our existence in our short history in this planet. Nobody's going to buy their way out of its effects. Once again, you are watching to STS TV, and this is Gretchen Awi-Atang saying thank you for watching and listening, and may God bless us all.